would like to call the meeting of the Pittsburgh Board of Public Health for April 3rd, 2025 to order. We have shall I get started? We have a number of items on the agenda, and I think some individuals are going to be appearing remotely. The first article on the agenda is a continuation of the problem with trash barrels on Grove Street, numbering from 54 through 64 Grove Street. And at the last meeting, I think it was decided that we would give some time, but that there was going to need to be a solution to taking trash barrels in. They were being left out and not taken in on days other than trash days. So I think we're just going to have an update as to what kind of a solution there might be for that problem.
If it would be okay, Mr. Chairman, if I could let two members in virtually. We have Mr. Nelson. Mr. Nelson, can you hear us?
I can.
Okay.
And we also, I'm sorry if I hack your name, but it's Cazard, Maxime Cazard. You got to unmute. Thanks.
Yes, I'm in.
And you can hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you okay.
Correct my pronunciation on your name so I don't keep hacking it.
You can just call me Max to keep it simple.
Max?
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. Thank you, Max. I appreciate you both coming. The reason for the discussion, as you may know, is 54 to 64 Grove Street is a kind of a large block with, I believe they're townhouses, if I'm not mistaken, multi-units. How many units in the buildings that you two own? Mr. Nelson?
My unit is 54 and 56, so they're just 2 units there. I only own 54, though. I own half of that house.
Yes, and my unit is 60. And there's 2 units in there, but it goes from 60 to 64 in my building.
Right. So neither one of you have anything to do with 60 to 64.
So with 60, I had a warning, I'd say probably about 2 weeks ago. And since that point, I marked the trashes in my home, and I made sure that the people upstairs, my tenants know that when it's not trash day, because we do have a garage. I have a garage and I have a driveway. And I let them know to put the trash and my trash as well, where I put my trash in the back where my driveway is. And then obviously on trash day, we put them out in the front. But other than that, because it is a long block of houses in that specific area, it's hard to differentiate which trashes belong to which owners. That's why I've marked mine with my number, and obviously 1 and 2 for the first floor, second floor.
Just to interrupt, we're showing Max as the owner of number 60. Is that incorrect, or?
Yes, I'm the owner of 60 Grove.
Max, okay.
60 Grove. So 60 Grove has barrels in front of it today.
Yeah,
and those barrels are marked.
I think today is trash day.
Yeah,
it's today or tomorrow. So okay. I took these pictures this morning. So there's pictures of each individual townhouse from this morning or this afternoon, so that you could see where barrels are normally placed during pickup, but also so you could see like 60 has the driveway. 54 has I believe, 54 has a driveway, whereas 56 does not have a driveway. So you can kind of see some of the issues with some of those properties.
Right. It's much easier if you have a driveway. Since I have a driveway, I've requested that my property manager inform the tenants to move their barrels to the side, except when the trash is being collected. I'm hopeful that that's happening, and I asked him again. He said yes, that he's let them know. So I hope they are doing that.
Your barrels were removed from curb this morning, or this afternoon when I took these pictures.
Okay, very good. Thank you. But obviously, I don't see what the people who don't have a driveway could possibly do. There's just no space for them to place their barrels if you don't have a driveway. So that
That's sort of
That's
why
a-
we're here.
Right.
Yeah, so just speaking, that was Mr. Nelson, correct, owner of number
Yes.
54? And you
Yes.
have a driveway, and
Correct.
did I understand that on non-trash days, you put the barrels in the driveway, is that, or do you take?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, to the side of the house, yes.
Now, what kind of space is there behind all of these units? In other words, is there a place that the barrels could go behind the units?
We could move the barrels all the way to the back so that they're not on the side, but, I mean, they can go around the side and not certainly hinder pedestrian traffic, and they're not all that noticeable on the side either. But if necessary, they could certainly be moved behind my house. And I guess to your point, like in 56, they don't have a driveway, but there is a driveway from the house next to it, which I don't know if that's 58 or 60, but in any case, they could walk them up there and place them in the backyard. So there is space, I know, behind 56, but that would be quite a walk for them. I'm not sure what they do with their barrels. But some of the other houses, I'm not even sure if they have access behind. Maybe the other gentleman knows.
Yeah, as far as I know, I'm not sure what the other, how much space the other homes have behind their houses, but I know behind mine, I do have, like, my driveway wraps around the home, and in the back there is still a driveway there, plus grass, of course. So that's where mine is kept at the end of the day. But the rest of them, I know the owners next to me, the back of their homes do have space in the backyard. I'm just not sure how they would be able to get it back there because they don't have a direct path to get there. They have to kind of go all the way around if possible to get there. So I'm not sure how they would do that themselves.
Just again, so I understand, what is the reason why people who don't have a driveway,
So
If you would be
somebody,
willing-
so really 62 is the one that, 62 and 56 are the two properties that really have an issue with their barrels. 62, the only way to get their barrels to the back of the building is they would have to walk through the driveway of 60, Max's property. And I believe 56 would have to walk all the way around Mr. Nelson's property as well to get to the back of her property.
And currently, there's a fence there, so they couldn't
Oh, there is
do
a
that.
fence there? Okay. I didn't-
They could walk, there's a driveway up the other side. It's not owned by them, it's owned by the house on the side of them. They could walk up their driveway, the other person's driveway.
I believe there's a fence at the back of Max's property separates 56.
Yeah, there's a fence behind mine as well.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if I got that in the picture or not. I tried to.
so separating 60 from 56?
Yeah, so the 56 is kind of, is once again landlocked there with
Okay.
fences.
Oh, I see. So there's not an access if you go down the driveway,
Yeah.
Max's driveway.
Or
You
Mr.
can't take a-
Nelson's, yeah.
Can't take a left and go behind 56. Well, how about, is
So
there,
62, but 62 could walk around, go down Max's driveway and behind the buildings, I believe. Is that correct, Max?
62, I believe, could. Past that, I'm not sure, but 62, I think I can. I'm able to step next to mine. So if it goes 60, 62, 64,
Yep.
yeah, I should be able to step to the left, to my left without kind of any obstructions at 62.
well, just another question with
I
this.
think the main issue with that would be since the driveway, let's say we have a vehicle at times, they would need some type of access to the individuals inside my home or myself to pretty much, if they want to get their trash out and in, you know, there's not enough space for the trash to go in with a vehicle in there. So having more than, you know, obviously people in my home, plus me and others having to access in and out is going to be a little difficult.
Yep.
So how currently do the people who don't have driveway access get their trash out? They just leave the barrels out, is that what we're saying?
Yes.
And just, so they never go in, they never go out. There must be back doors in each of these buildings to allow access to the back of the building, though, is that correct?
I can't remember the last time that I was in 60.
I don't have back doors. The rest of them, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know the last time I remember being in 62, if I've ever been into the backyard of 62.
Yeah.
I know I've been into 64 before, but they also, 64 has a driveway to the right that goes back quite a ways, and they have a place to put their barrels.
Yeah,
Ultimately, I don't, and I've never been into 56 Grove Street at all, so I don't know what kind of layout is like, what it's in there.
so 56 and 62, though, are the two that don't have access to get into their backyards via a driveway.
Correct.
Well, they must have some way to get in their backyard. I mean,
Likely through the house.
through the house, yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is, couldn't they go through, I know it isn't,
I believe we could offer them smaller barrels if that was something that they'd be willing to take, is smaller barrels to wheel through the house to get to the back.
yeah. I know it isn't ideal to do that, but
I mean, it would have been nice if the two properties with the biggest problem could have been here today, because
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing would be having the information from them to see if they're able to do that first, but since they're not here, we can't really get that kind of information.
well,
And it's worth noting that in cases like 56, I believe there's an apartment upstairs and downstairs, and so how would the people upstairs get their barrels to the back? They'd have to wheel them through the downstairs apartment, which may not be.
With that, you know what I mean? That's the way.
well, sorry to keep interrupting. Can't they just leave the barrels in the back of 56 and 62, take their garbage out into the barrels? I mean, very few people keep their garbage barrels in the house, so they've got to go out in the back, put the garbage out. So it would be one time a week that they would have to take the garbage through the house out to the front at the time of garbage collection.
are we talking about leaving the cans at curb and then just bringing the garbage and placing it, or are we talking bringing the barrels back and forth?
Taking the barrels back, after trash collection, the barrels would go to the back of the house. They'd have to take it through the house. Garbage every day that they want to put in the barrels, they go out the back of the house and put it in the barrels. And one day a week, they take the full garbage barrel to the front of the house to the curb to be collected.
I think that would be an option, but without them here, I don't know the feasibility of how they would go about bringing them through the house. I don't know if there's a hallway that just runs from the front to the back. I don't know if their front doors go right into the units, because I haven't been into those units before. So that's why we really needed them here, and unfortunately, they have, for the second time, not shown up.
They were notified of this meeting, though.
They were.
This is the second time that's happened. So if they're not going to participate in the decision-making, the decision might get made for them.
Yes.
I mean, that's just the way it is. We can only offer so much. We've been here twice now trying to solve this problem, and still, they're going to have to show up and participate. If they don't, which they haven't, the decision gets made for them. So
I have a question about the fences. In some of the buildings, you can't get around because there are fences. Are those fences like legal fences, or are they violating some sort of a right-of-way? Because by this diagram, it looks like it's a pretty tight area, even in the back.
I would say that this overlay is not going to be perfect. I grabbed this from the GIS, and it's a satellite photo and the lines. So I would say that the lines aren't necessarily 100% exact. I just kind of wanted you to see exactly kind of the situation that we're looking at from an overhead view, and the tight proximity of the properties and the lack of real driveways, except for some of the people on the ends. Like, you can see that 56 doesn't own any of that driveway. That's all owned by 60.
Yeah,
But you can see in 62 that there is an area behind 62 where they should be able to store their barrels. They just have to figure out how to get their barrels back there.
right. And just to clarify, these orange lines are property boundaries. They're not fences.
Correct.
Right, but didn't
A question, sorry to interrupt. Is 56, the building next to me, is that 56 and 58? Or is that just
56.
56 and 54.
I guess there is this 58.
Correct.
okay? So that whole building to the left of me is 54 and 56.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, so 56, so there's your property, then there's your driveway, and then that unit right there is 56.
Okay, and in your diagram, it's showing that 56 doesn't own any part of that driveway.
Correct. I don't, well, once again, this is kind of something that I grabbed from the GIS, and this is not, I wouldn't say 100% accurate. It's probably a good rough idea of where the property lines are.
That was my understanding, that they didn't have access to a driveway.
Yes.
So if I could ask a quick question, were either of you owners previous to 2012 when these barrels were implemented?
No, I'm a new owner. I've been here since about 2022.
I was there when the barrels were brought, yeah.
So, in my memory, it seems that there was storage of trash inside the building, possibly the basement at one time. Is that not an option anymore?
I don't think I ever had storage in the basement.
Okay. I'm just curious what happened to the trash before the barrels, because they were...
I'm assuming it was brought out in bags the day of or the evening before the trash collection and was taken away.
Okay, I just was wondering where the occupants stored the trash all week long until Friday's collection.
And just to point out real quick, you can probably see the fence between 54 and 56 in the back. The orange line is probably about an eighth of an inch or a quarter of an inch to the left of probably the property line. So that's kind of why, I mean, these lines aren't necessarily 100% accurate.
I think now that you remind me, I think they weren't town barrels, but there were, each of the apartments had a barrel outside and they would stick their bags in them, and they might very well have dragged those barrels to the street and brought them back.
Okay.
Just thinking ahead a little bit, if a motion were to be made to deal with this trash in some way and it's not done, that is, the barrels are still left out there, what sort of penalty is there for that?
I would start issuing fines. They start at 50, an increase for every violation, I believe up to
50?
Yeah, and then that would be, it would stay at that every day until the problem's fixed.
Per day,
Per day.
not per week, but per day.
Per day.
So it'll be 50 accumulated every day.
50, it would be 50 for the first violation, and then for the next violation would be another 50, so that's 100, and then 150, and it continues until it maxes out at 250, and then that max at 250 would be imposed every day until the violations are corrected.
That gets attention after a while.
Yes.
And the adoption of 40U now, unpaid tickets can appear on taxes. So it's got teeth.
The goal is never punitive for us. Our goal is always for compliance, and I just want to make that clear. We're not looking, and that's why we're trying to have this meeting and have the players involved so we can discuss this before we go the punitive route, because that's never our intent. Our intent is compliance. And
Absolutely, I share that, and I think we've made a couple opportunities for the individuals to come and participate, and I don't like being punitive at all. I agree with you, but on the other hand,
at some point, our hands are forced.
We can't. Garbage in Fitchburg, I think the subject's coming up more and more now, and it's potentially a very attractive city, but it's not helped by having garbage around. And so I think the solution starts right at home, and individuals have to go along with trying to keep the Fitchburg looking good. And it's also just not healthy, because It's trash that's out there, vermin come and they get dumped over, and it's,
It's not fair for the other people on the street that are responsible with their barrels and their trash.
true too. It hurts property values, you're right. So, any more discussion or questions, or?
So on my end, so, like I said, the only thing I've noticed since I got the first warning was I have mine marked. I know one of you guys mentioned something about my barrels not being marked, but I do have them marked in the back. So just because you said that, I'm gonna remark them and put 60 on the front, just so that there's no obviously confusion about whose barrels are out or whose barrels are in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a really good thing to do. I would recommend that for all multifamilies, especially if you're going to have your occupants be responsible for the placement of the barrels. Ultimately, you're responsible, but this allows you to know which one of your occupants isn't doing what you've asked of them. So,
Is there, by the way, a kind of a time limit from the time garbage is picked up till
Yep.
when the barrels have to be taken in?
barrels cannot be at curb before 12 hours before pickup, and they have to be removed within 12 hours after pickup.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it seems like it would be kind of unattractive in any of these beautiful homes to open that front blue door that I'm looking at 62, and to have a trash barrel right inside of the door. But if that's the only option that there is, people have to take some responsibility for putting their trash inside. And did you say that these were just taken today?
These were taken today, but today is also trash day.
Okay, but wasn't that same debris on this picture the last time we
It
got
was.
the pictures? So there's garbage sitting out there that's just been sitting there.
Correct.
So that's nobody's responsibility, apparently. Nobody wants to pick that up. What happens with that?
They're responsible for cleaning that up as well.
If that was in front of my house, I would want that to be picked up. And if the law is that you can't leave your barrels out, then open those beautiful doors in the front of these homes and put the barrel in there till you figure out what you're going to do with it. It's
There's a few options here, which is why we're having this discussion. We can offer smaller barrels. We can, somebody can locate a convenient place on a property somewhere, and we can offer a small dumpster on wheels, and our hauler can wheel out the dumpster on trash day. We do that on a few other properties in the city. But, you know, it's tough to accomplish something. The other option is to just totally remove trash collection if they're not going to comply, and let them figure it out on their own. And or fourth option is to ticket and get somewhere. But I think we have two.
That's another remote,
Yeah.
that's the next, next person, I think.
Those are after the trash barrels. So I think we have at least two responsible owners that are trying to
right,
make it.
right. I hear that, and I appreciate that. But for the
And I think it would be helpful if I mentioned, you, both of you folks could definitely supply information to contact you and your occupants. That might be helpful for us.
I have Mr. Nelson's property manager. I
Excellent.
found out that his property manager is somebody that we work with. So I'll be able to contact his property management company moving forward if there's an issue.
Excellent.
And I believe we have Max's email now as well.
Yeah, but you guys have my personal phone number as well.
Okay, awesome.
I do have. So thank you.
So as far as we know, these barrels are still sitting out there?
Well, tomorrow is trash day for
Oh,
this
tomorrow's
area.
trash
So technically, they could be out.
Okay.
I'll drive by on Monday, and I believe at this point, with the fact that certain property owners have not responded and shown up, I will begin issuing fines for the barrels that are at curb on Monday.
I'm just trying to think how to make a reasonable motion. I would like to make a motion that the trash barrels be stored behind the homes. Maybe I'll start there. I'll make a motion that the trash barrels on Grove Street in numbers 54 through 64 be stored behind the buildings when, other than on trash days.
Behind the building or beside the building, as we see that somebody's putting them beside the building, that's okay too.
Fair enough, yeah, thank
Or
you.
just inside of they have to be taken off the street.
Yeah.
I make a motion that they have to be off of the street or they're going to get a fine. And it doesn't matter to me or to anybody really whether they're behind, beside, or right inside of some of these doors.
Yeah, I
They've got to
appreciate
be off
that.
of the street.
I
That's my
appreciate that
motion.
clarification, yeah. I second that,
Clear the curb.
yeah. And I'll make a second motion that fines be instituted as of next week if this is not accomplished.
Second it.
Be done.
Thank
I want
you.
to thank you both for attending.
Yeah, thank you for your efforts.
Your efforts are appreciated and
Noticed.
noticed, and
Noticed,
that
right.
you're helping towards cleaning up that area. So we appreciate your cooperation. Thank you very much.
Right.
And just again for clarification, they're having their numbers are now on their barrels so that you'll be able to tell which ones are out and which ones aren't. It's important, yeah. Okay.
And I think that it can be a bit of an inspiration for Bob and for Max, that when you start, making the area look nice, then other people perhaps will want to do the same, because that type of energy is, sometimes it spreads, and everybody will want it to look tidy and nice over there. Hopefully. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. I guess we can move on to the next item then.
Sounds like a point.
The second item on the agenda would be a request for a variance for a wine bar to be put in place at 759 Main Street by Mr. Kenneth O'Connell. I think the reason for the variance is that the drainage in that particular building does not allow for.
Max is still on, I think.
Max has his hand raised, sorry.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Is this regarding my street? Because I'm at work currently. Is the meeting regarding Grove Street currently over, or is this something entirely different?
I didn't understand.
I didn't catch that.
Could you repeat that?
Is the meeting regarding the trash on Grove Street finished, or is this still in topic with, the issues that's going on in my street?
No, I think the meeting is finished.
For that issue.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's fine.
No problem.
Anyway, back to the request for variance for the wine bar at 759 Main Street. My understanding is that there's a problem with available drainage, so there can't be put in a certain number of sinks to take care of glasses and utensils. And so a variance is requested. Perhaps, Sean, would you like to just give us some background as to what, or
Yep, so we do have the applicant over here today, Ken O'Connell. So the applicant is requesting a variance on a 3-compartment sink. So for all of us who may not know, a 3-compartment sink is the most reliable and efficient way of washing and sanitizing any utensils and food contact surfaces or any mouth contact surfaces. Speaking to Mr. O'Connell, originally he had talked about installing a dishwasher. Dishwashers are regulated by the FDA food code that we have adopted in Massachusetts, but they are not required. So a required sanitation compartment would be a 3-compartment sink. A short version of the code is manual warewashing sink compartment requirements. Let's see, excuse me. A sink with 3 compartments shall be provided for manual washing, rinsing, and sanitizing of equipment and utensils. It must be large enough to accommodate and immerse the largest piece of equipment and utensil used for food services. So under the code, food does mean raw, cooked, or processed edible substance, ice, beverages, or ingredients used intended for use of sale in a whole or a part of human consumption, including chewing gum, and that's from the FDA food code itself. So visiting the wine bar with Mr. O'Connell and our plumbing inspector, we actually visited there on April 1st, I believe. No, April 2nd, yesterday. Frank, the plumbing inspector, did meet me on site at the wine bar and further confirmed that the hand sink would be able to be installed in the back storage area, and that would be easily accessible without any barriers. But a 3-compartment sink may require a more invasive installation. So there's no issue with installing a hand sink. I think we're under the same impression, Mr. O'Connell and myself, that a hand sink would be available, but now the issue is going to be a place to wash any potential contaminated beverage containers or food surfaces. I did reach out to the state for some guidance on this. It's a short little email, so if you don't mind, I'll read it off. Thanks for reaching out. I have not come across anything like this, but my mind has a lot of thoughts and questions, and I'm sure yours does as well. Will they have any outside food at this location? If so, is it prepared off-site? This makes me think about the no hand sink behind the bar, but that's been addressed. I personally like to require a hand sink behind the bar, even if it's just wine. They should be able to have easy accessibility. In regards to the 3-compartment sink, can they confirm absolutely no items will need to be washed, rinsed, and sanitized? Will all items be disposable? How and where are they making the wine? If it is on site, do those items need to be properly cleaned? I'm sure you have thought about all these questions as well, but I want to share my thought process with something like this. If they can absolutely confirm no items will be needed to be properly cleaned and sanitized, then I can see this being okay or allowed. I do agree with the hesitation of permitting this very unique situation. I did respond after speaking with Mr. O'Connell that there would be no food prepared on site and no beverages would be prepared on site as well. Speaking with the state inspector, they did provide some guidelines that they would suggest be put either on their permit or created in a variance, which is why we're here today. I can read off the things that they had stated as well if interested.
Sure.
They had stated no food would be allowed to be handled, served, or brought in from outside food establishment and served to customers, with the exception of commercially prepackaged foods that would be shelf stable, as in no food that requires refrigeration, cooking, or hot holding requirements. No reusable glasses, pourers, pitchers, dispensers, shot glasses, mugs, or similar devices would be allowed. No reusable tongs, stirrers, or other utensils would be allowed. No ice would be permitted for service. No fruit or other edible garnishes would be permitted for preparation or for service. No dairy would be permitted. No wine or beer would be permitted to be made on premise. All wine and beer delivered to site would need to come from an approved vendor and must be hermetically sealed in a can or in a bottle with a cork or screw top. And all mouth surfaces or contact surfaces, such as cups, straws, and etc., must be disposable and stored in a manner that does not allow for contamination by hands of a food handler or the environment.
I'm just pouring wine in a glass. That's all I'm going to do.
Yeah.
In a cup.
Are you
Plastic
licensed?
cup.
Disposable.
Are you
Disposable.
licensed to serve mixed drinks, Mr. O'Connell?
Huh?
Are you licensed to serve mixed drinks?
No.
No spirits? Just wine
I
and
changed
wine and
it to
beer?
just wine. Beer, wine and malt beverages, so there's no liquor involved.
What happens if someone asks for ice?
I'm serving wine. We don't pour ice in wine. I'm catering to wine snobs.
I was going to say, not in an upscale place anyway, yeah.
So we don't put ice in.
Are you going to be the person doing it yourself then, or you are? Okay, great.
Limited hours, just 4 to 9. I'm closing at 9. The rest homes close at 9. I got to get home.
So you answered it. There are restrooms there, and you can wash your hands.
There's 2 restrooms, both
Yeah.
of them are handicap accessible. Right through my door. So I have 2 restrooms.
So it sounds as if Mr. O'Connell, if he's using plastic disposable glasses or cups, doesn't need to have the sinks to wash them because they're just going to be thrown away essentially, not reused.
Correct.
No wine is going to be made on the premises. He's going to be having wine come in and just poured into the glass and,
And Mr. O'Connell has questioned or asked if he would be allowed a BYOG, which is bring your own glass. I have shared with him the FDA food code requirements for reusable or refillable containers, a practice that Fitchburg State uses, many of the coffee shops in the area, and formerly a lot of the fast food operations have used with soda. So technically, by law, he would be allowed to if he followed the guidelines of visually inspecting the containers before filling, and then he would not be allowed to handle any of the mouth surfaces of the glass, such as a mug. If he was given a mug, the customer itself would have to remove the lid where their mouth would touch.
well,
I did have a few other concerns regarding it, if possible. Where would the trash contract be, or who would it be with? When it comes to recyclable, I know Mr. O'Connell had mentioned he'd be using a hard plastic that would be recyclable, but ensuring that the trash doesn't end up on the streets, as we had discussed in the last topic. We do have a trash issue around every corner.
fair enough.
And a recyclable plastic wine cups will be in a bag. I'll take it home, put it in my recyclable rubbish barrel at home.
So things like crackers or Doritos, if they're prepackaged, are allowed. You just can't have a food truck come up and,
Food truck technically would be allowed, similar to how it was operated at the former River Sticks. They were not allowed to prepare food on site because they had a variance for dogs. They were allowed to have food trucks park outside, and those guests were allowed to bring the food inside as long as food handlers, Mr. O'Connell, wouldn't touch or handle the food. He wouldn't be able to provide any reusable containers or flatware. But he would be able to provide or single-use paper plates or single-use utensils.
so if, for instance, he wanted to do charcuterie or something, cheese and so
He
on.
wouldn't be permitted.
Would not?
Would not be permitted to do charcuterie.
No, I mean, if it were brought in by an outside food truck, let's say.
If a food truck or a customer brought it in, then it would be up to the operation. I'm sure many of us have seen on restaurants, no outside food or beverages allowed. That would be up to the owner's discretion, as long as they, again, are not handling the food.
Right? Gotcha.
I think for our discussion, I said if, like, Papa's Pantry wanted to make charcuterie boards and someone wanted to go over there and get it and bring it in, I just provide the rubbish barrel for them to throw it
Yeah, you
waste.
could do that.
That's
Yeah.
it, yeah.
My only concern about the rubbish being done at home, I believe there is a guidance in the Fitchburg bylaws that doesn't allow commercial trash to be disposed of at a residential home.
Not to mention those materials aren't accepted in the recycling. So by code, you would have to contract for waste removal.
So in other words, we have waste removal and pack, we have a big dumpster,
Okay.
Right.
that's accessible to us.
So Mr. Curry asked if you are, do you have to have a license to serve?
Yes.
So,
I do, yes.
oh, you do?
Well, I mean, it was approved by Fitchburg, it's in
I
Boston.
assume you meant an alcohol.
Yes,
Yes, yes.
that's what I meant.
Look at how trustworthy he looks. Who wouldn't give him a license?
I'm just saying, I heard the question, but I didn't really, I guess I
I
wasn't
know.
getting the answer.
All I wanted was a wine, maybe a beer and wine, that was it.
But now it's just going to be wine?
Well, I might have 2 beers or something, but there wouldn't be many, believe me. A very small place, only seats 18 people. I mean,
Okay, cozy.
I don't have, yeah, cozy, right? Yeah, not going to be a moneymaker, but anyway, it's just going to be a boutique little place.
Other concerns?
And is there a sink behind the bar?
No, the
There is
bar-
not. The only sinks are in the bathrooms.
Yes.
But when I was on site with Frank, our plumbing inspector, he did confirm that there would be a possibility of installing a third hand sink that would be accessible for the bartenders only.
Right.
And that would be in the back storage room. My other concern is, I saw some chairs back there. I wasn't sure if that is a part of your seating plan, because if it was, that would just be for storage and hand washing for the employees only.
Right. I had a plumber come over today to do the specs, and he's going to get back to me with the cost.
Gotcha.
It's in the ballpark, maybe, but hopefully.
Yeah.
And then just so that we're all aware, I did print out the requirements of a hand sink. So a minimum number of hand sinks shall be provided. Hand washing cleanser, such as a soap, a liquid, or bar soap must be required. Hand drying provision that is single use and adjacent to the hand sink shall be provided. It must be either individual disposable towels or a continuous towel or a supply of clean towels or a heat air dryer device. Hand washing aid and device for restriction must be allowed as well. That would be including for trash. So a trash bin must be required. A hand sink at a sign or poster that notifies food employees to wash their hands shall be provided, and a hand sink sign that provides notice that this is a hand washing sink only, not for disposable. So pretty standard. And then I would also require the sanitation. I just wanted to highlight, not that we have discussed this, but a cleaning agent and sanitizer availability. Cleaning agent that is used to clean equipment, utensils as specified as parts 4 and 6 shall be provided and available for use during all hours of operation, except those that are generated on site at the time of the use. Chemical sanitizers that are used to sanitize equipment, utensils, and other food contact surfaces shall be provided during all hours of operation. So that's something that we can discuss. It would either
We're
be
gonna have no cooking utensils on that.
but you would need a sanitizer to clean off the top of the bar. So it would either be a chlorine base, a quantum ammonium base, or an iodine base.
You can come in and look, I've got all that cleaning stuff in the back.
Yep, and I can confirm whether those be acceptable or not.
Okay. Fine.
And then my last one would just be just criminal penalties of violating a variance, just so that you're under, you're being included in full transparency. Any person who violates any of the provisions shall, upon conviction, be fined no more than 100 for the first offense and no more than 500 for subsequent offenses, unless a different penalty is set by statute. Each day's failure to comply with an order shall constitute a separate offense. So just keeping you in mind.
So let me just ask one more question. You had a plumber come in, and that's going to be addressing the issue of that additional sink that is not in the bathrooms.
Right.
Right.
He came in today and he checked it all out and he's going to get back to me with a
Yeah.
cost.
Right. So I would like to think that that is going to happen, even if that sink is in the back in the storage area, so that if you're needing to wash tables or the bar area or anything, you're not going to have to be going into the bathroom to do that. Or if you need to wash your hands, that you're not going to have to go into a bathroom to do that.
So if I may interrupt, the hand sink is for only hand washing and is not for any other operation. So his cleaning supplies would have to
Well,
meet.
you could pour water from a hand sink if you're going to put water in a bucket maybe, and take that bucket out to wash the tables.
Excuse me. Sorry, but the hand sink can't be used for any other operation other than washing your hands.
So, but you could get water in a bucket from the hand sink?
Technically, by code, hand washing sinks are only used for hand washing.
I understand now.
Mr. O'Connell does have access to a utility sink, so there are technically 3 sinks on site already. There's one in each of the unisex bathrooms. I believe one is only handicapped that I saw. The other bathroom has a utility sink in there. That's where he would be able to get his cleaning water from. The hand sink in the back, which to me is easily accessible, has no barriers, would be just for hand washing in case he sneezes, coughs, or if there's a spill that he has to clean up and he has to wash his hands afterwards. His cleaning devices would be separate, if that answers.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for clarifying.
Well, any other questions or discussion? If not, I will make a motion that we grant the requested variance for the wine bar at 759 Main Street with the, all the details that have been set forth.
I'll second that.
And I can provide the restrictions onto the permit. That's where they would be placed anyways, so that you'll have a full copy at all times.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with it.
These would be the restrictions on the second page.
Oh, this is,
Here.
yeah, oh,
Sorry, not that one.
okay.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So is the tobacco hearing for Patriot still on, or
I believe we have all the parties here.
they're here? Then we'll move on to the hearing with regard to sale of tobacco products to a person under the minimum legal sales age regarding Patriot Gas at 240 Lunenburg Street. Oh, I have that.
Thanks.
Stay, but you're welcome to.
I have one more.
We have Joan here. So there we are.
Hello.
Hi. Well, perhaps I'll just defer to Joan Hamlet then to discuss the reason for this hearing and what is the alleged violation that occurred.
So typically, whenever there's a violation, the retailer will receive the violation order, and then they can choose to pay it or appeal it. And then if they pay it, fine. If they appeal it, we come here. In this particular case, the state law and the local regulation requires a hearing before the board because it's the fourth violation in a 36 months, so it requires to move forward with the fine as per the state law, but then we have to, instead of setting the permit suspension, the board would have to decide no less than 30 days for this violation and all the way up to permit revocation. So this is actually a hearing that's required by law. It was not requested by the retailer. We've had a lot of discussion, Robert and I, since this violation has occurred. We're looking at, on February 22nd, 2025, we did a citywide annual youth access compliance check. We checked all 45 retailers in the city. We had a couple of sales. One of them was at the Patriots Gas. And unfortunately, this is the third sale in a 36-month period and the fourth state violation in a 36-month period, which puts us at a $5,000 fine and at a minimum 30-day permit suspension. And then, discussion to decide if the board would do more than that or whatnot. And the laws allow you to go all the way up to permit revocation. We've been working with Robert and discussing with Robert different things. He has some things he'd like to tell the board that he's been working on to make sure happen. We had a couple of things we recommended since this sale has occurred, and he's agreed to work with us on educating his employees and things like that. So I'm going to let him speak to that. We had revocation is something that's very serious, and we rarely get here. I have 46 communities, and in 30 years, I've had 7 revocation hearings. So, we're not recommending revocation, and most boards at this time would follow the recommendation of $5,000 fine as issued and required, the 30-day permit suspension, which is what the third violation is, and then we don't recommend revocation at this time. We recommend one more opportunity to work with the retailer and try to get to the bottom of helping his store. If you remember, we've had one other situation we had one other retailer come before us for permit revocation, and that retailer wanted to turn in his permit at that time, so he voluntarily turned it in, but the recommendation was the same back then. And moving forward, we've worked with Fitchburg for 30 years. This is only the second time it comes up. Moving forward, we would always recommend one more chance before moving forward into taking a look at revocation. So we went through the whole violation. Everybody has a copy of it. I've been through it with Robert. There was no protocol errors. There was no procedure errors. It's unfortunately a solid, very expensive mistake that has occurred in the store. And we would like to recommend a responsible finding $5,000 fine as required by law, the 30-day suspensions, because you can't do less than 30 days. And then, of course, if this triggers a re-inspection, and then we have next year's annual inspections, in the next 36 months, if there was another violation that would constitute a fifth violation, then we would be back to the permit revocation. But some of his previous violations are about to drop off in May and June of 2022 when you go back into the
36
into the tolling period. He did have this violation with us since his previous violations and his last suspension. He's had no other violations with any other agency. There's no DOR suspensions, no federal, no state inspections. He passed our reinspection the last time there was a sale to a minor, but unfortunately the tolling period, you know, puts us at this place. Nobody feels good. I've said this multiple times before in hearings. Our goal is to help people come into compliance. Unfortunately, this is a case, and Robert can speak a little bit more about that. And our recommendation, you know, I discussed with Robert a little bit about the impact of a 30-day permit suspension, and, you know, he already has orders and inventory in his store. We would recommend a 30-day suspension that would be June 1st to June 30th. That gives him a chance to not have to try to stockpile, move his inventory that he's already paid for. He can sell it down and not order more and be ready, because that inventory can't be on the premises, indoor or outdoors, anywhere on the premises for a 30-day.
Mm-hmm. So I think you already answered the question, but it's obligate once you reach a certain number of violations that the fine is there and the suspension is there. It's not a negotiable period. It can only negotiate up, can't negotiate down, essentially.
The only way that the board could consider a not responsible finding would be as if you believe there was a protocol error or processing error and that the evidence presented before you in the order shows that the violation did not occur. You know, Robert is already in agreement that it did because in our conversations, but I'm going to let him speak for himself because, you know, he was notified in a timely manner where he could check his cameras and, you know, he's not disputing that it happened. At least to me, I don't know about today. So, you know, I'm going to let him speak to that. These are very expensive mistakes. The law does not allow a board to reduce the fine. And there is some flexibility on permit suspensions, but not when it comes to sales to a minor. So a fourth sale to a minor, it's minimum 30 days with all the way up to deciding. You could do a year suspension, you could do 60 days, you could do a permanent permit revocation. We're not recommending that. As we didn't when this case came up a few years ago with another retailer. In moving forward, if any other retailer got to this point, we would recommend the same thing, 5,000, 30 days, and that's been the standard of what other boards have done to give that one last chance before having to really take a look at taking a license from a business.
Are you all set, Joan? I'll ask, it's Robert Dennis then?
Yeah.
If you would like to speak.
Yes, this is, I don't know if you remember me from last time when I broke my ankle and I had the issues before. I wasn't at the store and the underage sales when I wasn't there. But it's no excuse. It shouldn't have happened. I'm responsible for the store. And this was neglect. This was my employee's fault. In essence, it was my fault. It was a gut punch. I couldn't believe when I got Steve's email. I didn't expect this at all. Excuse me, I'm having a cold. I have taken steps since the last altercations. I've put, and I have here, in case anybody wants to see it, I've put $20,000 worth of new retail equipment in my store, which checks when you bring an ID to the table. You match the ID with the person's face, and then you can scan it, and it automatically tells you on a receipt if the person or in the computer whether or not the person's of age. I've done all the training for that with all my people at my store. I've had store meetings, and the first topic that came to mind was tobacco sales. I have this sign at all my registers. But there was definitely neglect. And this, I mean, the person that came in, my 13-year-old son looks the same age as this person, so there's no excuse. This one hurt.
I know it's upsetting. Why do you think it happened? Was the
She was on the phone prior to the transaction, and yeah, she just neglect.
Just didn't pay attention?
Yep.
Diane?
She didn't utilize the technology that he
Correct.
provided for his retailers. And
Correct. She just bypassed the computer.
And unfortunately, the law holds the retailer responsible. And you and I had a conversation that you had a desire.
Yeah, I want to bring something up to this point. And Joan pointed, we've had lengthy conversations, Steve as well. There's no, I don't want to say punishment, there's no holding accountable the employee. I can't be at the store for 24/7. I can't. I have cameras that I can watch. I can't be there all the time. There's no in liquor sales. There is a $300 fine for if.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Tobacco, it could be 300, but for liquor stores, the clerk, the minor attempting to purchase, and the retailer all have skin in the game for punishment.
But there's nothing for tobacco. So if, for example, one of my employees is mad at me or doesn't want to do their job, or it has a phone call where their daughter's sick or something and they neglect their duties, there's no skin in the game for the employee. And it's my store, I understand, and I'm responsible, and I take full responsibility for this. But if there was some responsibility for the employees as well, I would think there would be less and less altercations, in my opinion.
I think you raised an excellent point. It seems quite unfair that, as you say, you can't be there every minute that the store is open, and you can't be listening to every conversation and watching what every person does. And yes, someone might have a bad day, not be thinking, might not like you, and you're the one who pays. It's kind of, it seems unfair to me. It does. And I will say right now, I hate these hearings. I think it's important that what Joan does to protect.
Oh, they're doing a job. There's nothing against Steve or Joan or anybody. It's my responsibility. It's my store. It's my business.
No, I understand. I'm just saying I don't like these because these situations come up very frequently where owners come in and they weren't even there, and this happened, and yet the owner's the one who's responsible for it. I think, I won't say 100%, but most of the owners are doing their very best to comply with regulations and the law to do what's necessary. But and so it seems unfortunate that it has to be this way, and perhaps someday it'll be brought up that not only is the owner responsible, but the person who actually did it should bear some responsibility, but I guess that's not the current case.
So I did a little research, and since the 90s, mid-90s, a bill has come up on Capitol Hill, sometimes several of them, having clerk responsibility, but it will never in lieu of the retailer. So the retailer would still have to have responsibility under the state law. I have no idea why, because we're 30 years into educating now. So I could see initially like getting everybody on the same page. I told Robert I would support clerk responsibility. If they're getting a $300 non-crim ticket that follows them, it may make them more conscientious. So nobody's in disagreement about that, I don't think, but there is no state law that allows that. The current state law says that we have to move forward with the fine, but we are later in the spring reviewing our regulation to update, and I talked to Steve today, there are a handful of communities in Massachusetts that through local regulation have the $300 non-crim fine, so the clerk gets that, the store gets, the heavier penalty. And I'm going to do a little research between now and presenting that to the board to find out, did that change things? Did your rates go down? Are you finding, with the clerk having to pay the ticket, did it have any impact on minimizing the sales to the minors? So I'm going to have some data for that moving forward at Robert's request and moving forward with the board when we address upgrading the regs or making changes in the regs later in the spring.
I've talked to my employees and asked them about this, and they said, of course, it would be more detrimental to them if they sold to a minor and they had to pay $300 out of their own pocket in order to pay the state and for the fine. I mean, it's just my opinion, because the last time that I had the problem with my ankle and everything, and I got the letters from the board. My manager at the time held the letters up, and she said to the person who sold the tobacco to the minor twice, she said, "You know what this is?" And he goes, "No." She goes, "This is the tobacco violations." And he goes, "Yeah, so?" That was his answer. So that's my point. There should be some skin in the game for the employees, as well as long as they get the full training and they're knowledgeable of what exactly is what they're doing and what their responsibility is and what could happen to them. I think there would be more responsibility.
I'm giving these to Robert today, and what this is the Mass Associated Mass Health. It comes from the Department of Public Health, and it's through SARA, Mass Health Officers Association. Thank you. There's too many acronyms. I can't even speak today. I haven't had enough coffee. So this can be photocopied, and I'm giving him a handful of them, and it's a QR code, so his employees, when he's hiring them, or he can put them together in a staff meeting, they can each scan this code and do a retailer training, and it logs into the state database, and they'll be able to tell us that. It won't tell us the names of the people, but it'll be able to tell us that from that location, 5 employees participated in this training program, and it's online training for store personnel about how to make sure you're not selling tobacco to a minor. So I brought these for him today. We offered these before, but he had a good program going. He now is going to try this with his employees as well.
Thank you,
I think that's great, but still, I have to agree with him, or I want to agree with him, that no matter how much you train anyone, unless there's some penalty to that person to do what he was trained to do.
These days, they don't. It doesn't
make any difference.
It doesn't bother. Trust me. I'm not trying. It's my fault. I'm not trying to say this is not my fault. I'm here to take the penalty. I'm here to accept whatever the board's decision is. But I just think that if there's more skin in the game to the actual employee, it would make a difference.
I agree with you completely, and believe me, I don't like seeing you here. Not that I don't
want to be here. Sorry, no offense.
I don't.
I have one more other thing.
Painful.
I am going to implement my own secret shopper. I plan on going to. I talked to Joan, and I didn't know this, but I thought if I hired kids under the age of 21 to come in to buy tobacco, I thought it was against the law, where Joan says it's not. So I'm going to go to Fitchburg State, and I'm going to have 5 random kids come in at their own will. They're not going to even tell me. They'll just text me, and I'm going to do my own secret shopper. So
There you go.
Just to make sure. Very good.
So, and I think that the point that you brought about the person who sold the product doesn't have any skin in the game, and now Joan is going to investigate that, so things will change a little bit. The other thought that I have, Robert, is that maybe if, I don't know if there could be an incentive offered, because sometimes people work on that type of a program too, an incentive like, okay, if we go for 3 months without anybody having any violation, everybody who works those 3 months is going to be a little bit of a, I don't know, Amazon card.
It's a good idea. Great idea. That's a great idea.
Maybe.
My employees get incentive enough as it is. I pay them well, so.
Great.
I was surprised. He does pay them very well.
I pay them well above minimum wage.
Do you have any openings right now?
Yes, I do, actually, yes. This is what really, because I try to treat everybody with respect, and I know how tough the job is, because I've been there. I've done the job many times, and I know how hard it is. And this one hurt. This one. I thought initially, I thought I was getting an email from him so he came back because he noticed some things aside and I had to fix. So I thought I was getting his update, and when I looked through it, I couldn't speak.
Well,
I did want to add, because the point got brought up, we do have other retailers that have shared with us in other communities. Some of the chain stores, they do offer incentives if they pass, and they also will suspend people without pay for a week if they sold, or sometimes we're not advocating for someone to lose their job, but there are some stores that have zero tolerance policy. So if you sell in their secret shopper or you sell in ours or a state inspection, they have a zero tolerance policy. So there are other models of things that he could find from peers that they are doing.
yeah, I think those are great ideas, but I certainly hope that somehow it will come about that the people who do it bear some financial responsibility as well. I think it just seems fair to me that they would.
Yeah.
Any other questions, Diane? Steve? Well, it is with considerable regret and sorrow that I have to make a motion that we ask for the $5,000 fee to be paid, given the number of offenses that have, or violations, so put it that way, that have occurred. And I would like to recommend the minimum suspension, which I think is a 30-day suspension, be carried out. And it is with great sincerity that I hope that we don't see you here again. And I'm sure you feel the same way.
I don't want to be here.
It's I'm
Very embarrassing.
well, I don't know if it's not you, it's someone else did this.
Ultimately, it is me.
Well,
I do have to make note, it's actually refreshing to hear a retailer take responsibility.
Yeah.
It's been very refreshing. I mean, it's...
That's true. No, I admire that. I really do. But there's only so much control that you can have minute to minute. It's a very difficult situation. It's a difficult occupation that you have there. It really is.
Extremely.
Yeah.
I told my daughter I'd kill her if she goes into this business.
What did you say?
I said I told my daughter I'll kill her if she goes into this business. Told her to go to insurance.
Well, I'll second the motion that was made, and is that suspension going to be June 1st to June 30th, that 30-day suspension? I'll second that.
Yes. We'll follow up with a hearing outcome letter that will put the details in writing.
I'll say one thing. At the last hearing we had, I think 2 weeks ago, this is just an aside, I was amazed. I think we had to give it was a first violation, so it was just a couple of days suspension, if I remember. But I asked the individual, how many individuals coming into your store are buying cigarettes or tobacco products in a given day? And I thought maybe 5 or 10. It was hundreds.
Get 122 average.
Yeah. I was amazed that there's still that kind of demand for those things out there. But anyway.
Best wishes going forward.
I'm sorry, did you guys vote? I didn't hear.
We did.
Okay, thank
He
you.
made the motion, I seconded it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And it's regretful, believe me.
Yeah.
It's not your fault.
Okay.
Well,
My own fault.
everybody has jobs that we hate doing, right?
I completely understand.
Well, when I say that, I think it's the obligation of the Board of Health to protect the health of the community, and that's what it comes to sometimes. And it's just a shame that it involves situations like this. And it's with all sincerity that I say I truly hope we see you jogging down the street without a broken ankle, doing well, and that we don't have to see you in here.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
I think that's it, unless you had any more questions for me.
No,
Okay,
thank you for coming.
Thanks, Joan, for coming. Thank you. Let's see. Next on the agenda then, unless there's something else, has to do with the, let me find it here, with the, there was food permit hearings. One was involving Padda, and I think they're not represented here today, is that?
They are here today.
Oh, they are here. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. This place is filled with Thai people now.
Hello there.
Hello.
Is English okay?
Yes.
Hello.
And
We do have the availability of interpretation if it's necessary.
That's fine, thank you. Thank you.
We've always communicated very well.
Sean, do you want to give background to this, or Steve?
It's a short background. Their permit has, or for Padda, just like all other food operations in the city of Fitchburg, their permits expired December 31st of each year, so in this case, 2024. They have been given notice. I've done a few drop-bys and spoke with Sina myself. I've given a few phone calls and emails, as I believe as Director Curry. I will give an update and say that I did receive an application today. I did approve with a few notes, a few certifications that will be expiring in the upcoming months, just to be aware of, including your CPR and your allergy certification, both fairly easy to be done. And at this point now, we are just waiting for payment to be received, including the 2 late fees of $35 each. So a total of $195 for the permit and the fees. And I did send an email or a message this morning, I'd say around 9:59 a.m., just giving you a heads up. Hi, Boonsman, your renewal is complete. Please pay for your print and post your permit visibly. If you need us to mail you a copy, please let us know.
Yep, I got that. I was at work today, and I got that when you sent it. I haven't had time to get to my computer yet, but that will be taken care of today after this meeting. I have gotten your email, and I was attempting to get it all set up. It's just with life and paying bills, working, all that stuff. It was my neglect that brought us to that position. And when I did try to get all my stuff done to apply for the permit, a lot of stuff was out of place. My insurance was canceled of non-payment. I usually have my bank account deducted, and maybe it was the reason was that it wasn't enough funds. So now that was discontinued without my knowledge. And then when I did get the notice that it was canceled, now when I had to go and get my certificate for insurance, I had to pay, I have to redo a new insurance. So I had to pay the full amount, and that was fine. I just paid it off. So I got all that in order. And then the Surf-Safe certificate was a lot longer than I anticipated, so that was a little bit of a time there. And I finally was able to get it the other day and updated everything and sent all my stuff in yesterday. And now here we are. So again, that was my fault, definitely. And I'm trying to balance a lot of things, work, family, and running a business. It's pretty hard.
Tell us about it.
This is like, I think, our 5th year in business. We're struggling along, and in the city of Fitchburg. So here we are. We got the notice of the cease and desist, and we stopped that day. I got the notice, and we didn't open, and we weren't forced to close by the sheriff or anything. So, just trying to,
So just, the permit's been reissued, he is able
So
to,
the permit has not been reissued, it's still pending payments.
oh, okay.
yeah, we just got to do the payments.
So
Like I
once
said,
payment is received, they'll receive their permit.
Right, yeah.
I see.
I would just remind you both that you do receive an email 30 days before your permit expires, and you're given an extended grace period of an additional 30 days. So that's essentially from November 1st to January 31st to renew your permits.
Yes,
And at that point, it's a good time to make sure that all your documents and certifications are up to date and valid.
yep.
So is there anything, I think this is mostly informational at this point, is that right?
So,
Or-
yeah.
yeah.
Would an order help?
An order of,
An order from the board to restore their permit?
Or does that just happen automatically once?
it would happen automatically once payment is received.
So you don't really need an order from us? That
Well, technically, they're operating without a permit.
But they've ceased to and desist
Yeah,
their
we
operations,
stopped-
from my
We
understanding.
stopped once we had the cease and desist.
I believe that they were added to the agenda today because up until today, you must have submitted it late last night. Up
Yeah,
until
yeah.
today,
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
had
have
to
an
get my-
application, so it was more of they were called in today to give us an update, but the update was sent to me this morning.
Okay.
I see. So essentially, you've taken care of everything?
Right, yeah.
It's just a
We're just
question
coming
of...
by because we had the hearing that you told me about, and we're just going through the motion of coming and talk to you, making sure everything's all right, and for us, to, after the payment, we can operate.
Correct.
Well, without Steve here, I think that we can give the order that you can issue the permit once and begin work once the payment is received.
Will do.
Right.
All right then, thank you very much.
And thanks very much. Sorry.
No, it's life, I'm trying to struggle and just trying to keep up board,
Yeah, one day at a time.
Well, thank you very
Just
much.
something personal. It's obviously a Thai restaurant, and it's just down on Lunenburg Street now?
Yep, Thai restaurant on right next to the barber shop there, and little spot. You'll miss it if you just just drive by. But
How long have you been there?
we've been there 4 years. Right after the pandemic, we opened up. This is the 5th year. So we weren't open yet, so the pandemic hit, and we just had to wait until everything was opened up, and then after that, like 3-4 months after, we were able to open.
And you're open, what are your hours?
11 to 9, Tuesday to Saturday. So to take 2 days off for our family.
Sunday, Mondays off.
Yeah, Sunday, Mondays off.
We'll let you do that.
All right. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Best wishes.
All right, Sean.
Sawadee. Whatever that. I spent a couple months in Thailand working. The gold bowl is...
Yep, I have Mr. Chen on virtual as well. Mr. Chen, can you hear us?
You have to...
You're muted, Mr. Chen, on your end. Anyway, we can move to the next hearing, maybe a few minutes early.
Unless Sean wants to, I mean, he can hear us, Mr. Chen, probably. I mean, did you want to give background as to what the reason for...
I can, yeah, unless he can unmute himself and speak.
Oh, he's back again. Can you hear us now, Mr. Chen?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Excellent.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay.
And you are comfortable with English, correct?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm here to apologize. I forgot the ticket things. That's why I haven't paid yet.
Okay.
Okay. Want me to give a little background?
Yes, please.
Right, so the tickets were prompted after a routine inspection conducted on December 4th. During the findings of that inspection, there was some fill violations observed regarding the cold holding code 3-50116. Remarks all but one of the roll-top refrigerators on the cooking line that houses the chicken fingers, crab ragoons is temping around 45 and 47 degrees. Stop using this and contact a licensed technician for repairs. Because that was permitting season, my reinspection wasn't able to be conducted until January 22nd, 2025. At that point, no tickets had been issued. On the reinspection, cold holding, violation 3-50116, a cease and desist order will be issued stopping the use of this refrigerator and behind the cooking line. This is due to the observation during the reinspection and observation of food held above the required holding temp of 41 degrees Fahrenheit and below the required hot holding temperatures of 135. The temperature of the below refrigerator was perfect, and the inspector expressed concerns with the size, depth of the pans and the overflow of the food in the pans. The food should be directly touching the pans and do not stubble tack pans in cold holding. During that reinspection, it was observed that there was no sanitation for food contact surfaces at the start of the inspection. The time was between 2:39 and 3 p.m. The person in charge stated that they did not have time, and the inspector reminded the person in charge that the surface sanitation must be available during all hours of food preparation and food service and cleaning. Unfortunately, this had been something that had been documented back in 2023. After that inspection, the inspector did drop off sanitation logs for them to hold their employees accountable to make sure that they are making and testing the sanitation. I provided proper cold holding alternatives, including ice bath methods, and I provided it in both English and Cantonese, I believe. And it also instructed what temperature food must be held in cold holding, which is 41 degrees Fahrenheit. At the same time, I provided proper sanitation mixing in both languages, English and Cantonese, or sorry, Mandarin. And I provided it in chlorine, which is the product of their choice. They're given the choice of chlorine, quantum ammonium, and iodine. Gold Bowl does use chlorine, which is a very common and approved method, but it must be available at all times, tested and maintaining. I also provided in Mandarin a proper thermometer that outlines all the required temperatures. And I also provided proper handling, cooking, and reheating methods as well in their languages, Mandarin. They were also sent a letter stating that you've been observed continuing violations that prohibit the FDA food code based on the inspection from the following dates: February 24th, 2022, August 31st, 2022, February 24th, 2023, and August 23rd, 2023, December 4th, 2024, and January 22nd, 2025. You have failed to correct and maintain the following violations: no food contact surface sanitation available during food service hours, and failing to maintain the cold holding temperatures of temperature-sensitive foods. The rest of the letter just goes on explaining what a repeat citation minimum fine is. Following that inspection, that was a Friday. I wasn't able to get back into the operation until January 24th, which was a Monday. Cold holding failed, violation 3-50116. The inspector left behind training logs that describe how to store food, do not overfill pans, and do not fill deep. Sanitation availability, 4-30311, observation of no sanitation available at the start of the reinspection. The inspector was at the location 2 days prior. This is the third repeat of no surface sanitation. The inspector recommends creating an opening checklist that includes making, testing the chlorine sanitation chosen by the owner. They also suggest hiring a food consultant who can better educate and prepare sanitation and use the cold holding setups. That day, on January 24th, they were sent the same letter sent on the 22nd with the additional date. I did a follow-up re-inspection as a third one, January 27th, the re-inspection for cold holding and sanitation availability for food services. Cold holding, great adjustments made. Please practice not overfilling the pans of food so that the refrigerator can reach the maintained cold holding temperatures. The inspector left behind documents that can be found under the application's attachments to review cold holding temperatures, cold holding temperatures, corrections, and safe temperatures to hold cold food in. Sanitation availability 4-30311. The inspector left behind sanitation logs to help better monitor the daily making of the chlorine concentration. During this revisit, the sanitation was available and it tested perfectly. So on the 22nd and the 23rd, they received a fine. The 22nd, the fine was $100 because it was a second repeat, and then on the 24th, because it was a third repeat, it was $200. So we're here today because neither of them have been paid, and there's never been a request for hearing or adjustments.
I see. But the corrections have been made.
Corrections have been observed as of January 27, 2025. I have not had to do a reinspection because they get inspected every 6 to 8 months.
I see.
So it would be their responsibility to make the corrections as they did and then maintain them for future inspections.
Thanks very much. So, Mr. Chen, did you say that you were getting prepared to pay the fines?
Yes, I am. I just too many things going on. So and I put a ticket on the other table and I totally forget it. So do you mind remind me how much I need to pay? Do I need to pay extra fine since I missed the date?
So from my interpretation of the code, there's no additional fine for a late fine. It's $100 for the ticket issued on January 22nd, and it's $200 for the ticket issued on January 24th. After a ticket is issued, you have 21 days to respond, pay, or request a hearing. After that, I'm not sure, maybe the Director Curry would confirm if there's an additional fee if there's not one paid.
There are no additional fees.
So then it would be $300 total, $100 for the first fine on the 22nd, and then $200 for the second fine on the 24th.
Okay. Can I drop them tomorrow and the treasurer, or I need to mail it?
So you would be dropping it off at the city clerk on the second floor. Sorry, the Board of Health clerk on the second floor.
Okay. All right.
It can be mailed, dropped off in person, and I think those are the only two options. And then, Mr. Chen, I would just make sure that you're maintaining these corrections because they do continue to double until they reach $500.
Right. I'm searching around for new refrigerators because when you come first on December, I had a John from Fitchburg Appliance come to add a Freon to it. And when it's not working properly back on January, I asked him to come again, and he said there's a leak on the pipe. So he did fix it. But he think it's kind of old. I might need a new one. So I've been searching for one, but it's kind of really expensive these days, around $6,000-$7,000. So I haven't buy it yet, but I will buy one soon.
Understood. I would recommend using the probe thermometer that you have that is required by the food code and test your food frequently, especially on the hot days that we're going to experience in the summertime.
Okay. Yeah. I probably buy one before summertime.
And I did provide you alternative methods of maintaining the cold holding. One of them would be using ice, and then another one would be time and temperature control. So if you have any questions on either of those practices, please reach out so that I can demonstrate or explain them better.
Okay. I will. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
And Sean, he's allowed to remain open even though the fees aren't paid, or?
So because the violation was corrected and observed on the 27th, I did not cease and desist him because everything was running operatively or correctly, and I didn't feel closing him was necessary.
Gotcha.
If the correction was not made, I would have agreed and said, let's cease and desist the operation.
If I may ask a question, Mr. Chen.
Yes.
What are your, I heard consultant mentioned in there. I'm just curious what your thoughts are about getting any assistance in addition to what Mr. Tantanaro has offered. Have you explored the ability of a food consultant by any chance?
Few years back, I did hire a food consultant to educate all of my employees.
Okay.
But, since in the restaurant, the turnaround is really quick.
Yeah.
So, maybe in year 2, you get half of them with new people. So,
Did you find that you made progress with the consultant by any chance?
it did, but it wasn't last very long.
Right.
So when the new guy came, I still need to train him by myself. So it's like just saying the people have to come and go very quick. So normally I would train them by myself.
Okay, it sounds like you've made some corrections, but the concern is that there are repeat violations, and when there's repeat violations, there's the potential for foodborne illness. So we just want to make sure that folks are properly trained and that food is staying within temperatures. So I appreciate your cooperation. Thank you.
All right, thanks. So I will drop the check tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Chen.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate your time.
I don't think there's any order or anything that we have to do.
I think an order, him making sure that he complies with the food hot and cold holding would be beneficial, and that we will give him a written notice of this hearing,
Okay,
so it's on record.
all right. So the order will be written. We don't have to do anything right this minute?
I would take a vote and order he maintain hot and cold, and anything else you feel necessary.
Sanitation.
In sanitation.
Food surface sanitation must be available.
Yep.
Okay.
So those should be in an order form, and then that way we will give him a result of a hearing.
Okay.
Okay, so I can make that motion that they, at the Gold Bowl, Meng Chen
Yes.
is going to comply with the sanitation restrictions or the sanitation guidelines and the temperature control guidelines for hot and cold holding of food.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Okay?
Thanks.
Thank you.
We'll prepare you an order in writing, Mr. Chen, so you know exactly what to expect. So thank you for your participation.
Okay. Thanks, Earl. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Sean, for
Thank you.
all your input and work. As far as remaining items on the agenda, the annual vote, I think we,
Continue to table that.
yeah.
So, okay, never mind.
Did I not include the meeting minutes? I apologize in my email.
I don't think that, at least I didn't see them.
No,
Yeah,
they weren't there.
Well, I'm holding out.
okay.
If you wouldn't mind tabling those, I apologize. I didn't, I thought I sent them to you, but apparently I didn't.
We have utmost confidence in Karen, but still.
Not so much in me, huh?
Probably ought to see them, yeah.
I guess I'll go out to
She
pasture.
only does what you say, so we should question it, I suppose. Anyway, well, with that said, I think that concludes the agenda.
I believe, I still have some announcements.
Oh, yes, you do,
And you
you're
should
right.
table the minutes.
Yes, thank you.
I make a
Official.
motion that we table the minutes from our last,
March 20th.
it was, thank you, March 20th meeting. We're going to table the accepting of those minutes until our next Board of Health meeting.
I second that.
And moving on to announcements, the first one is our city cleanups, April 19th, is sort of the Ward 4 and 5 clinic, but clinic, I am on my mind, cleanup. We're not going by wards anymore, it's citywide cleanup, but volunteers can meet on High and Academy Street, and we will have refreshments and assign folks to areas within Ward 4 and 5 to clean up. We're not limited to Ward 4 and 5, but if you come with a goal of an area where you wish to clean, basically it's a street and parks cleanup. We're not accepting home cleanouts. We will have bags and gloves, plastic gloves. If plastic gloves aren't your style, bring your own gloves, but we're looking for volunteers to help clean up the city. And then again on April 26th, we will meet at Daniel Street Park and do the same thing in that area of the city. I think I forgot to mention that it's High and Academy Streets on the first one on the 19th of April.
You did.
May 3rd is at 44 Wanusknock Road. And then May 10th, we will meet at Stanley Park. And that is at 1 Simons Road. Stanley Park is out in front of the British American Club in West Fitchburg.
And what time are you meeting?
These are all 8 to noon time.
Okay,
Thank you for asking that.
you're welcome.
As far as further announcements, we do hold a medication take-back event on April 26th, at the same day as the cleanup. It is from 10 to noon. It is held right outside this building in the Legislative Building at 700 Main Street. You can drive up and drop off your unwanted and unused medications. So folks are urged to check their medicine cabinets and remove those unused and unwanted medications. We will get them properly disposed. This is a collaboration with the DEA as well as the Fitchburg Police. And from 10 to noon, we will take those unwanted meds and make sure that they get properly disposed and not get into folks that, hands that aren't supposed to have them. And finally, I'd just like to announce that in about 6 o'clock, 20 minutes from now, we will hold another opioid community input forum. Folks are welcome to also take a survey. The survey is on the web page. You can check the flyer. It's on the main page of the City of Fitchburg. Take a look at the flyer as well as take the survey. We are very interested in what folks have to say about our opioid settlement funds that the city is receiving. We would like input on how folks think that money should be spent. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything to add? Well, with that said and the completion of the agenda, then I think that we can adjourn the April 3rd, 2025 meeting of the Board of Health.
I'll second that.
Meeting is adjourned.